Good afternoon. Welcome to your class of English, Tunaidan. Today I am recording this audio for 18th of May. I have my laptop open here with me so that I can continue teaching, and I thought I'll try something new and post a video lesson for you. First of all, I want to talk about a video that I'm going to post after this, and I would like you to watch it as well as learn from it. It has two major people in that video. One is Emma Watson and the other one is Malala Yousafzai. Both of them talk about feminism. Now, I want you people to realize what is feminism. Feminism is not about female power or women empowerment. Feminism actually means equal opportunities for everybody. And since it is the female gender which does not get those many opportunities to thrive and to showcase their talent, so more women talk about feminism. And that's the reason that I would like you to listen to both these people. If we talk about Malala Yousafzai, she was born in Pakistan and she is a Pakhtun Muslim from a very conservative background. So she is known as mostly as Malala, and she is the youngest Nobel Prize laureate ever. She was born in 1997. She's quite young still, and she is known for her advocacy of rights for women and education for the girls. So she always talks about educating the girls. She herself was shot by the Taliban in the head at point blank range, and she still survived because she refused to stop going to school. Since her father always supports her, so he had opened a school for the girls and she used to study over there. So the Taliban had told her, they had told everybody that girls will henceforth not go to school, and she refused to obey the order. For that, she and one of her friends were shot. Emma Watson, on the other hand, she is a British actress and born in Paris, France. She has worked in Harry Potter as Hermione. If you've seen the series, she is the girl with Harry Potter and his friend. Now, she is a passionate learner, and as she acted, she started acting at a very young age, and she appeared in many commercials also before that, and then she started her career in 2007. She was born in 1990, and she has worked in many serials, and Harry Potter is one of the highlights of her career. So in between her studies and her work, she found time to finish her degree also, and she always talks about how important education is. Both these people talk to the world about what you really need to know. Educate yourself. You need to work on your upgradation of knowledge. So I will be posting this video after the lesson. First I'll be posting this video for your lesson, and then you can watch the video and learn from there. Now the lesson that I want to talk about today is, it has two parts. It is the interview. It is on page number 68. I have my notes around me. That is why I sometimes look at the laptop, which is here. If you can just see, this is my laptop out here, and I have my notes ready, which I consult from time to time. So I'll be looking here and there for that reason. So this particular lesson has two parts, and it is taken up from the introduction. The lesson is named the interview because it talks about people's attitude towards giving an interview, and of course the press attitude towards taking an interview, the journalists who go around and who ask questions. So it addresses both those things. And here it talks about, I'm starting from page number 68, the interview. From the introduction to the Penguin Book of Interviews, edited by Christopher Sylvester. So they have taken a portion, an extract, which is being used out here. Christopher Sylvester was born in 1959, was a student of history at Peterhouse, Cambridge. He was a reporter for Private Eye for 10 years, that's a newspaper, and has written features for Vanity Fair, that's another newspaper, that's a magazine, sorry. Following is an excerpt taken from his introduction to the Penguin Book of Interviews, an anthology from 1859 to the present day. So it is a continuation of interviews of many people, and it is a study about how people react to the interviews. And it has been published by the Penguin Publishing House. Penguin Publishing House also has one of its bases in India, and it is called the Penguin Random House. It is the subcontinent's largest English language trade publisher, and the company publishes over 250 new titles every year. It has bagged many prizes, so it has a backlist of about 3,000 titles. With a strong fiction and non-fiction list, they publish every segment including biographies, travel, business, stories, fiction, non-fiction. Their illustrious author list includes 3 Booker Prize winning novels, The God of Small Things, The Inheritance of Loss, and The Life of Pi. And virtually every major literary prize they have already won, including the Nobel Prize, the Magsaysay Award, the Gyanpith Award, the Sahitya Academy Award, and the Commonwealth Writers' Prize. So several of their authors are also recipients of the Bharat Ratna and the Padma Vibhushan, India's highest civil honor. So it is one of those houses which is recognized all over the world, and it publishes beautiful books. Very nice books are published by Penguin Book House. So now we come to, after introducing all these things to you, I want to start with the lesson. So I'll carry on reading of part 1 from page number 68, as I had already told you. Since its invention, a little over 130 years ago, invention of taking an interview. The interview has become a commonplace of journalism. If you join a mass communication course, you will realize that that is one portion of mass communication which you will be dealing with, how to take an interview, how to conduct an interview. Normally when I do this lesson, I ask some of the children to take an interview of a person who influences them, and to frame question answers, to frame questions to ask, and how and what is important, and how to make the interview interesting. So I give a practical project to the children to do it, and sometimes I also ask them if there's you can interview a teacher who influences you, or you can interview the principal. You can take time from her and you can interview her. But since we are not able to do that, so I would like you people to interview your parents. They are there. Take a relaxed evening for a setting and write down a set of questions for them and ask those questions, starting from what are their life's goals, what makes them happy, and what is the most important thing for them. How did it all start? How was their college? When did they meet your parent? If you're talking to your mother, then how did she meet your father? And if you're talking to your father, how did she meet your mother? Or if you're talking to both of them, then how did they meet? And what was life initially and how it was? And what are the aims and goals now? It will be actually a very interesting piece of project, because it will bring you closer to the insight of how your parents think. So you can do that, and you can also understand how interviews are important. So today, almost everybody who is literate will have read an interview at some point in their lives. You follow your favorite stars and you listen to their work, and you also read the interviews in the newspaper, on the internet. So everybody knows about interviews. It is something which is normal. While from other point of view, several thousand celebrities have been interviewed over the years, some of them repeatedly. So people who are famous, they are talked about and people like to know about them. So they are often asked again and again for an interview where they need to be talking about what are their thought processes, what do they like, and what is their take on a particular issue. These days you open up any TV channel and you'll have somebody or the other giving an interview or sitting for a debate or in a chat show. So what are these? Oprah Winfrey, she in America runs the most famous chat show in the world, and people find it to be a matter of privilege to be able to go to that chat show to give an interview. So interviews are a part of our lives, and it is part of journalism. It is part of exchanging knowledge, knowing about your idol and people who influence your thinking or people you like to follow. So it is people are interviewed normally and over time repeatedly. So it is hardly surprising that opinions of the interview, of its functions, methods and merits vary considerably. Now since you will be talking to maybe a person again and again, or if you suppose you like Katrina Kaif, so she has given so many interviews, and if something comes up which is new, you would like to watch it. So same with Alia Bhatt or Ranbir Kapoor. These are famous people and people who are more in the limelight. So they have a fan base and they tend to generate interest. That is why they are interviewed again and again. Anything in their life which is different or happening, people want to know about it and people ask about it. So every interview has a different way of functioning and a different way of bringing out the thought process of the person who's being interviewed. However, the methods generally remain the same. You ask a question, the person answers, and sometimes you ask them something which they are prepared for, and sometimes you just so googly and you ask them something which they are not prepared for. And that is when you see the reaction. I remember Tom Cruise had got married for the second time, and I think his wife was Katie Holmes, if I'm not wrong. So I'll check it also, and then I'll confirm it to you. So he was called for an interview by Oprah Winfrey, and he came. So over there he was very excited. She asked him about his marriage and he just went ballistic. He was jumping on the sofa and he was so excited and he was so much in love, and he really wanted to talk about her, how she made him feel, how he was so happy and everything. So yes, his first wife was Nicole Kidman and his second wife was Katie Holmes. So she was talking about Katie Holmes and she said, okay, how do you feel? The moment she said, how do you feel, this guy, he jumped around. He says, I'm so happy, I don't know how to express it and I don't know what to tell you, but life is wonderful and very interesting and whatever. I can't think of anything beyond. It didn't work out for too long. So after a few years, they divorced. They have a daughter. But that interview was one of the benchmark interviews of Tom Cruise. He was totally out of character. Always he has been suave and adventurous, and his Mission Impossible and Top Gun. I watched him for the first time in Iron Eagles, and then the second movie was Top Gun for me. Wonderful person, and what a character and what actor. So he's one of my favorite actors, and I had seen him in sedate roles, the roles in which he is mature, he takes a decision, he is taking decisions which influence the world. So I never expected him to be giving that kind of an interview on the world stage, which is going to be watched by the entire world, and he was so human, which was very different from the image of Tom Cruise. So interviews affect people in many different ways, and they have their own kind of ways of going. You never know how an interview is going to end from the way it begins. So the methods, the merits, they vary considerably. Some might make quite extravagant claims for it as being in its slightest, highest form a source of truth, and in its practice an art. So people who are good at interviews, taking interviews, they have perfected them to a fine art. They know what they want to talk about and they know how to talk about. Like Coffee with Karan, people go to Coffee with Karan with the thought process that they need to prepare to give an interview. It's not about the person who is taking an interview that he needs to prepare and he needs to have a question list and he needs to know. No. The person who is getting interviewed goes with a lot of preparation. I don't know what he's going to ask and I need to be prepared for this, prepared for that. And then they work so much towards the hamper, to win the hamper. People like Oprah Winfrey, Karan Johar, Simi Garewal, they are people who have a name in the industry based upon their interviewing skills. So for them it is a fine art and they have perfected it to an absolute art. Others, usually celebrities who see themselves as its victims, might despise the interview as an unwarranted intrusion into their lives or feel it somehow diminishes them. Now, there are many kinds of people, they have different kinds of reactions to giving an interview. And in some of the reactions, what happens is that people think that it is not something they can do. They think that they can't give an interview. They don't want to talk about it. For example, Amir Khan never goes on an award function to collect an award. He just refuses to go. He says, I don't work for awards, so I don't go and get them. I'm not influenced by them. Then there are certain people who will never, ever, ever give an interview. Dharmendra's first wife, Prakash Kaur, in her entire life, she has given just one interview. Just once. She has always been away from the limelight. She has never ever come in front of the cameras, or she's never talked about her relationship or her family. She refuses to do it. Sunny Deol's wife, she has never given an interview and she's never talked about it. The first time people actively saw her in India was when her son's movie, Karan's movie, was released. Last year it was released. So that was the first time that people saw her pictures. So there are reclusive people who don't want to be known or talked about. Greta Garbo was one such star in America who, after she gave up on working in the movies, she just stopped meeting people, no interviews, nothing. She just didn't want to talk about herself. Then in Indian cinema there was Suraya. She was one star who retired at the age of 27. She was a beautiful star who worked in the black and white era. She used to sing her own songs and she did many movies. She started very young and then she retired at 27, and after that she just became reclusive and she stepped away from the industry and she never ever gave an interview till she died. So this is this set of people who have done their bit, worked on it, and then they just stop thinking about it. But then there are other people who are frightened, who break out in a cold sweat at the thought of talking about themselves to somebody. This is the second genre that he's talking about. He says those people feel that they are being, the journalists are being intrusive, they're intruding into their private life. For example, if you look at Prince Harry and Princess Meghan, they got married, they had a child, Prince Archie, not even Prince, he's not called Prince, he's just called Archie Mountbatten. So after that, they gave up on their titles and they gave up on their Prince and Princess title. They just moved away. They moved to America and they don't want to be associated with anything which brings them into limelight because they don't like to be part of the society which is in the forefront and highlighted by others. So they just got away from it. They don't give interviews, they don't talk to people, they don't release their pictures unnecessarily. The only video that was released recently was Duchess Meghan reading to Archie on his first birthday, and that video was specially made to raise money for children who are affected by COVID in the world and dying of hunger. So it was a charity that they wanted to do. They have been filmed by a CCTV camera delivering food to people in California in the COVID pandemic, where people require food at home and they don't tell anybody who they are. This footage has gone viral because somebody who had a CCTV camera outside his doorstep, he realized that the people who delivered him food were Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan after they had already gone off. So there are people, Prince Harry's mother, Princess Diana, She never gave interviews where she thought that people were intruding into her personal life. She gave an interview when she wanted to tell the people to stay away, or she wanted to say something. So she didn't like the press coverage, and eventually she died in an accident which was caused by the press. They were hounding her, and the driver was trying to outrun the people who were clicking pictures and trying to take her pictures in the car, and they had an accident and she died. So I will be finishing this video out here in another 2-3 minutes, because it is already past 20 minutes. So I'll be uploading it on the Google link as well. And so this is the second set of people who are frightened. They're so frightened that they cannot face an interview, and they don't want to talk about themselves. They want to keep it private. So here it says that they think it is unwarranted intrusion into their lives, or unwarranted intrusion means unwanted, unnecessary, and intrusion is when somebody is trying to forcibly get into your life or space or place. That is intrusion. For example, when the army is patrolling on the LOC or the border, so sometimes the other side, the enemy side, they intrude forcibly and then they are pushed back. So that is an intrusion. So in the same manner, interviews are thought to be intrusions into the lives of these people who want to keep them private. So it diminishes them, makes them feel small. And just as in some primitive cultures, it is believed that if one takes a photographic portrait of a person or somebody, then one is stealing the person's soul. This used to be thought about in China and in India also. In the 18th century, people used to think that if somebody clicks a picture with the camera, the person is going to die, his soul is going to be taken off, because there was no other way that you could see an imprint of you on paper. So they didn't understand technology, and they thought that it was something which was out of the world. It was a phenomena which was against nature, and they will lose their soul. So just like that, people feel hyper about giving an interview and they don't like it. V.S. Naipaul feels that some people are wounded by interviews and lose a part of themselves. So one of the writers, V.S. Naipaul, he feels that interviews can actually scar you, because what they ask and what they project is totally different from the answer that is given by the person, and the world misconstrues the thought process of the person or the celebrity, and then they judge them, which is what they don't like. So I will be closing it here for today, and if you have any questions, please post them on the WhatsApp group and I can give you the answers. If there is a particular word that you don't understand or a meaning that I need to explain, please get back to me. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. This is Mrs. Mundi signing off for today's interview lesson. Tunai then. Thank you.